It is such a wonderful joy to welcome you to our time together today. I am Lyra, and I have been looking forward to sharing this quiet space with you as we explore the hidden rhythms of spoken English. I know how frustrating it can feel to study English for years with limited results. You spend countless hours reading heavy books, you memorize long lists of difficult vocabulary words. You learn all the proper grammar rules by heart. Then you finally sit down to watch a popular movie, or perhaps you meet a native speaker in a local cafe. They open their mouth to speak, and everything just blurs together instantly. The words sound like one long, continuous noise in the air. It can feel like they are speaking a completely different language altogether. You might even feel a little bit discouraged in those quiet moments. I want you to know that this feeling is completely normal for everyone. The secret to understanding fast English speakers has nothing to do with learning more vocabulary. The secret is simply understanding how words behave when they sit closely next to each other. Native speakers naturally relax their mouths when they talk in daily life. We want to share our thoughts as easily and quickly as possible. We drop letters and squish completely different words together to save precious energy. We do not speak in perfectly separated single words at all. We speak in small rolling blocks of sound. Once you understand these hidden patterns, the whole language slows down for you magically. The confusing blur suddenly becomes entirely clear and deeply manageable. We can see this clearly with the words going to in natural conversation. These two words transform into the sound gonna. You will hear this tiny word everywhere you go during the day. Imagine a busy manager standing up at the end of a long office meeting. They gather their printed papers from the wooden table. They will tell the room they are gonna send an email later. They do not pronounce each original word carefully. If they said they were going to send an email, it would sound very strange. It would sound very stiff and almost entirely robotic. People reserve that kind of careful speaking for highly serious announcements. At home, the spoken pattern feels exactly the same. Your partner might look inside the empty refrigerator and sigh deeply. They will tell you they are gonna buy fresh groceries after work. It feels completely natural and entirely relaxed in the room. You can feel the breath just flowing without stopping at all. We use gonna for almost anything happening in the near or distant future. A very similar change happens when we use the simple words want to. These words blend together to become the soft sound wanna. Imagine a good friend calling you on a sunny Saturday afternoon. They tell you they want to grab a quick sandwich downtown. They do not carefully separate the strong consonant sounds. The harsh letters just melt smoothly into each other. You hear tired children use this smooth sound constantly. A sleepy child will always say they want to play outside in the yard. They rarely announce formally that they want to play outside. When you start listening for wanna, you will catch it in every casual conversation. It carries a warm feeling of desire without sounding aggressively demanding. It makes the person speaking sound highly approachable and deeply friendly. Sometimes we have a strong daily obligation rather than a simple desire. We use the phrase have got to or just got to. In fast casual speech, this quickly turns into the word gotta. This sound always carries a distinct feeling of nervous urgency. You might look at the wall clock during a very busy day. You realize you gotta run fast to catch your evening train. A tired colleague might stop by your desk with a massive stack of papers. They look stressed and say they gotta finish a huge report by 5. The harsh letters turn into a very soft bounce of the tongue. Saying gotta helps convey that heavy feeling of being rushed. It tells the listener silently that you have absolutely no extra time to spare. We also soften our spoken words when we offer to help someone. The words let me quickly become the single gentle sound Lemme. Imagine a stranger walking toward a heavy glass door with their hands full. You step forward quickly and say, "Let me hold that for you." It sounds incredibly warm and deeply helpful to the person. If you carefully said, "Let me hold that," it might sound a tiny bit formal. Lemme creates an instant feeling of friendly equality between strangers. A busy doctor might look at your medical chart during a routine visit. They will say, "Let me check your test results from last week." It softens the strict professional hospital environment just enough. It makes the nervous patient feel entirely comfortable and properly cared for in a very similar way. The words "give me" become "gimme." This happens when we ask for something to be handed directly to us. A coworker might be standing right next to the busy office printer. You might politely ask them to gimme that top piece of paper. When I sit down to plan our sessions here on SpeakFlow English, I always tell myself to gimme a moment to just breathe and focus. It is a very soft demand used only in familiar and safe spaces. You would certainly not use gimme in a highly formal professional setting. You would definitely avoid saying it to a serious judge in a courtroom. But between trusted friends or close colleagues, it is perfectly normal and expected. It keeps the daily conversation moving smoothly forward. The flow of sound also changes heavily how we talk about the past. We often ask people around us to confirm their recent actions. The words "did" you usually turn into the single sound "didja." Imagine a quiet roommate checking on the apartment late at night. The main lights are off and the house is completely quiet. They want to make sure everything is safe before sleeping. They will simply say "Didja lock the door" as they walk down the dark hall. They just want the factual information quickly without a long discussion. This sound also appears constantly in busy corporate environments. A supervisor might look closely over your shoulder while you type an email. They will say, "Did you see the new notes on that file?" The formal words crash together and create a remarkably fast sound. The strict professional edge completely disappears from the interaction. When we talk about the immediate present moment, "do you" becomes "dia." Someone walking down a crowded city street might stop you suddenly. They will say "dia know" the exact time before pointing at their wrist. They do not separate the two original words at all. The entire phrase rolls off the human tongue as one quick sound. You might hear someone walk into a newly decorated office space. They will look around the bright room and say "dia" like the new setup. The words just slip out in one smooth and completely continuous motion. It sounds completely effortless and entirely natural. People use this comfortable rhythm when they want a quick and honest reaction. Feelings of deep regret bring entirely different sounds to our daily conversations. We often talk sadly about things we intended to do by saying "would have." In fast-spoken English, this quickly becomes the soft word "woulda." You're talking about a fun weekend party you unfortunately missed. You tell your close friend you woulda called, but it was simply too late. It clearly shows that your original intention was very good. You simply ran out of time or personal energy. Someone looking into a fully crowded local restaurant might sigh deeply. They might say "we woulda stayed if we actually had a table." The harsh ending sounds of the words completely disappear into the air. You only hear a gentle vowel sound at the very end of the thought. When the feeling of regret is slightly stronger, we often use "should have." This smoothly turns into the single emotional word "shoulda." You step outside and realize it is pouring heavy rain everywhere. You look at your completely empty hands and say, "I shoulda brought a large umbrella." The feeling of regret is heavy, but the spoken word remains very soft. A friend might tell you about a beautiful mountain sunset they watched alone. They will tell you that you should have seen the amazing bright colors. They are sharing a deep personal feeling of missed natural beauty. The soft word "shoulda" connects you to that past moment very gently. It makes the sad regret feel shared and totally understood. We also spend time talking about possibilities that never actually happened. The words "could have" naturally become the casual sound "coulda." A dedicated sports fan watching a very close television game might shake their head. They will say their favorite team "coulda" won the championship this year. The clear possibility was always there, but it eventually slipped away. You might talk about a long summer trip you recently took. You tell your family we could have taken the fast train instead of driving. It is just a simple, factual observation about the distant past. The smooth flow of coulda makes the observation feel entirely relaxed. It prevents the spoken sentence from sounding like a harsh and angry complaint. When we make a confident deduction about the past, we use must have. This quickly changes into the warm and observant word musta. You see a good friend yawning constantly at their messy work desk. You tell them they must have been up very late last night. You are making a logical guess based purely on what you can easily see. Someone arrives at a cozy dinner party completely soaked from the winter rain. You rush over quickly and say they must have forgotten their warm winter coat. The word musta feels highly sympathetic and deeply understanding. It plainly shows the other person you are paying close attention to their current situation. We also have special rhythmic ways to soften our most direct statements. We do this when we are not entirely sure about a specific situation. The words sort of become the gentle middle ground sorta. You step outside early in the fresh spring season. You pull your light jacket tight and tell your neighbor it is sorta cold today. It is not exactly freezing cold, but it is certainly not warm either. The word simply provides a highly helpful middle ground for everyone. It lets you share a personal opinion without committing to it fully. It takes the sharp, aggressive edge off a very strong statement. The common words kind of are used in the exact same rhythmic way. They instantly become the soft single word kinda. A friend enthusiastically asks if you want to go to a very noisy concert. You softly admit you were kinda hoping to just stay home and read a book. It softens the social rejection beautifully and keeps the friendship safe. People sometimes tell me that understanding fast speech is kinda like learning a magic trick, which is exactly why we practice this way together on SpeakFlow English. Once you hear the hidden pattern behind the words, you can never unhear it. The mental trick becomes a permanent part of your natural daily listening skill. Sometimes we talk about leaving a boring place or running out of household supplies. The common phrase out of quickly becomes outa. You open the kitchen refrigerator and stare blankly at the empty shelves. You realize you are completely out of milk for your warm morning coffee. The sharp ending sounds soften completely and bounce gently off the teeth. You are at a loud neighborhood party that has gone on far too long. You look at your best friend and whisper softly, "Let us get outta here." It sounds perfectly natural and slightly urgent without being rude. If you clearly said "out of here," it would feel a bit overly dramatic. The softer spoken version keeps the moment wonderfully casual and completely private. Feelings of daily uncertainty bring their own unique sounds to our daily lives. The formal phrase "do not know" changes dramatically into the sound "dunno." You pat your warm coat pockets looking for your heavy house keys. You sigh deeply and say, "I don't know where I put them." The whole original phrase drops into a low and comfortable rumble deep in the throat. Someone asks you a highly complicated question about the distant future. You just shrug your shoulders gently and say, "I don't know what to tell you." It is the most honest and deeply relaxed way to admit you lack a clear answer. It completely removes the heavy social pressure of needing to be perfectly right. When we politely explain our personal reasons, the word "because" gets reduced to "cause." You are explaining to your worried mother why you missed a phone call. You softly say you were silent because you were deeply sleeping in bed. The long word becomes tiny and almost entirely unnoticeable in the sentence. A friend asks why you left a dark movie theater early. You truthfully say you left 'cause the film was incredibly boring and slow. The tiny word acts like a small wooden bridge between the action and the reason. It takes up almost absolutely no space in the flowing spoken sentence. It keeps the interesting story moving forward without causing any awkward delay. When we talk about things we firmly expect to happen, probably turns into Prolly. This specific sound is very common in casual speech and daily modern life. A busy coworker asks if you are attending the long afternoon meeting. You smile warmly and say you will probably be there right after lunch. You look up at the dark gray clouds gathering in the evening sky. You mention casually to a stranger that it will probably rain before nightfall. It sounds very relaxed and entirely informal in any casual setting. It shows you're confident while still gently leaving room for small natural surprises. We also love to talk about old habits we have completely abandoned. The words used to beautifully become the soft sound Useta. You drive slowly past a tall brick apartment building in the city. You tell the person sitting next to you that you Useta lived there long ago. The heavy consonant completely drops out of the spoken word entirely. Two friends are talking warmly about their distant and fun college days. One simply says they Useta eat warm pizza every single night. It brings a deeply pleasant feeling of sweet nostalgia to the ongoing conversation. The smooth word flows beautifully and seamlessly into the distant happy memory. Finally, we talk heavily about daily expectations and unwritten social rules. The formal phrase supposed to becomes the much shorter word "sposta." You look closely at the local weather forecast for the upcoming weekend. You tell your family it is supposed to be very sunny tomorrow afternoon. The first part of the original word almost completely vanishes into thin air. You are waiting alone at a quiet restaurant for a close friend. They send a fast message saying they are running quite late. You reply calmly that we were supposed to meet at noon. The shortened word carries the true weight of the rule but sounds entirely conversational. It wonderfully prevents you from sounding strangely angry or overly strict with your friend. This beautiful blending of sound is the true reality behind the English language. English speakers simply do not speak in isolated and stiff single words. We naturally speak in long rolling chunks of comfortable human sound. We let our natural breathing carry the deeper emotional meaning forward. We only put heavy vocal stress on the exact words that matter the most. We stress the important nouns and the powerful main action verbs. The small connecting words just melt away quietly into the background noise. When you listen to an English movie later today, change your mental approach entirely. Do not try to catch every single letter or tiny small word. Let the rolling natural sounds simply wash over you like gentle water. Listen for the underlying musical rhythm instead of the strict textbook spelling. You will start to hear people say gonna and wanna without any effort at all. You will notice exactly how often they say shoulda and coulda in their daily life. Every single time you quietly hear one of these reduced words, you will smile gently. You will know exactly what the speaker truly means deep in your heart. It takes a gentle patience to carefully train your ear this beautiful way. You do not need to force yourself to speak exactly like this right away. Just knowing the hidden secret completely changes how you listen to the wide world. The sudden nervous panic of not understanding slowly disappears from your busy mind entirely. The spoken language feels wonderfully human and completely accessible once again. You realize native speakers are not actually speaking too fast to be easily understood. They are just speaking comfortably and naturally with the lovely people around them. And very soon, you will find yourself secretly understanding them completely effortlessly. You are doing such wonderful and brave work just by being here and listening today. I have truly loved sharing this quiet and peaceful conversation with you. Take very good care of yourself out there until we speak again.